In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine ignition. And liftoff of the Falcon 9 on the Starlink 6-36 mission. Falcon 9 has cleared the tower. And is beginning its climb. Now 30 seconds into flight. "45 seconds into the mission. SpaceX able to notch its second liftoff of the evening. Let's listen to the roar of those 9 Merlin engines. Getting some great tracking views. This view from Pete Carson's and this from our tracking camera here at the press site. Now 1:20 into flight. Falcon 9 now passing through the point of greatest aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle, max Q. Coming up on MVAC chill down, the point at which the second stage will thermally condition the Merlin vacuum engine for ignition. Now 1:45 into flight. Now 2 minutes into flight, we're approaching main engine cutoff or MECO. The 9 Merlin engines will shut down, followed by stage separation and ignition of the upper stage engine. Jettison of the payload fairings will come shortly thereafter. And there's MECO. Stage separation. And ignition of that Merlin vacuum engine. Now coming up on 3 minutes into flight. That next milestone, fairing deployment. And you see those payload fairings falling away here in Pete's tracking camera views as they reflect off of the glow of the Merlin vacuum engine. Now 3.5 minutes into flight. The next milestone we're expecting is the first stage entry burn beginning. That's coming up at T plus 6 minutes and 9 seconds. Now passing 4 minutes into the flight, the Starlink 6-36 mission. Seeing some stars go by as we watch these tracking views.
Vehicle is following a nominal trajectory.
You hear the call out that Falcon 9 first and second stage is following nominal trajectories. We're seeing views from both the tracking camera we have on the ground, thanks to P. Carson's, as well as the onboard cameras from SpaceX. The top box there, the first stage, is switched to a different view pointing down at the engines, which is why it's suddenly a good bit darker, because the Merlin engines have not ignited for that entry burn just yet. It's coming up at T plus 6 minutes, 9 seconds. We're taking views from Chuck Briggs' tracking camera here as we're awaiting the entry burn beginning. And there you see that on your screen.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
From the position on the ground, the entry burn may be dipping in between some clouds, which is why it was a little bit brighter and darker in spots. That entry burn, though, wrapping up just in the last moment there in real time. Still continuing on the SpaceX screen.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
Coming up on our next
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
milestone, T plus 8 minutes 4 seconds. That's when the first stage landing burn will begin. It's a little too far out and too close to the horizon for our cameras on the ground to be able to see that, so we will pivot to the SpaceX cameras if need be.
Vehicle is following a nominal trajectory.
We're still getting views from Chuck Briggs of the second stage Merlin vacuum engine continuing on its burn. We will keep these tracking views up as long as we're able. Some great clarity here tonight. A little over 7.5 minutes into flight. Less than 30 seconds away from that landing burn beginning.
Stage 1 transonic.
Yeah, that call out for stage 1 coming transonic, meaning it's moving slower than the speed of sound. And again, just as a point of note, our countdown clock at the top, or our mission clock, I should say, the top right-hand corner of the screen, a little bit ahead of the SpaceX feed. That's because our clock is in real time, and the SpaceX clock in the stream is coming in on a slight delay. That landing burn said to begin
Stage 2 in terminal guidance.
a few seconds here.
Stage 1 landing burn.
We should see views from the drone ship, a short fall of gravitas, come into view on the right-hand side of the screen.
Landing leg deploy.
With those landing legs out, Booster 1069 has completed
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
its 12th flight to date. Standing tall on the drone ship, a short fall of gravitas. Coming up on second stage engine cutoff, SECO 1.
Pico.
That Merlin vacuum engine will cease firing for quite some time as it continues on in its parking orbit. It'll have a 1 second burn coming up